Welcome to the NDIS Property Australia podcast. Before starting this episode, we need to provide a general disclaimer. Information contained in this podcast is general in nature only. It does not take into account the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular person. You need to consider your financial situation and needs before making any decisions based on the information in this podcast. And you should consider seeking independent and professional advice for your personal circumstances. All right, let's begin.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're here with Minh and Donna, and we're going to be talking about all things Sydney and New South Wales, and specifically focusing on SDA housing. You want to take it away, Minh?
I'd rather Donna take it away because she's never spoken before on the podcast. Donna, say hello.
Hi everybody, how you going?
Good, thank you.
That's good.
So, we haven't talked about New South Wales, have we?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I think we've maybe really briefly mentioned Sydney, and then we would have talked a little bit about New South Wales with Joel from Archwell.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually in detail spoken about New South Wales. It's sort of just been briefly mentioned in passing.
Okay. I think it's good for us to introduce Donna from the office. She comes from Sydney from many years ago. So, Donna, what's your background about Sydney? How long ago were you living in Sydney?
Oh, that was quite a while ago. I moved back up here. I came up here when I was still at school.
Yeah.
So, but I've always gone back down there because I've got half the family down there.
Whereabouts are they living?
Bankstown. Go the Bulldogs. And, of course, there was grandparents at Parramatta. So we were in the inner suburbs, and I went to school at Maroubra, so I was on the beach. So it was great to go to the coast all the time. My brothers were in the surf life-saving, what do they call it, for the little kids? What do they call it? The nippers. They were nippers, yeah. Girls weren't allowed in then. We were always at the beach every Sunday. It was always, I just loved it for the simple fact you didn't have to jump in a car and drive to the coast. The coast was there. So that was my memories of Sydney as a younger one.
Speaking of Bankstown, I'm looking at the list here, and we've got 104 participants with total participants with SDA need, 87 who are already in SDA dwellings, and 10 of which are looking for alternatives. So, Donna, where is Bankstown now? What's the population? Tell me more about Bankstown.
Bankstown, yeah. I even remember my auntie saying that the house that they're living in still is they built it. So it's approximately just over half an hour away from central Sydney. And it has, like I said, it's the Bulldog supporter area. It was an area individual, like a satellite town way back then, but it's all merged now. Key area is got a major shopping centre, which is probably non-existent these days at Roseland. So it is a very, very central sort of hub once upon a time for Sydney. Yeah, so now it's classed as inner west, I suppose.
Okay. Well, the stats here show there's about 11 participants with HBS qualification in this area. 1 in improved ability, 2 in fully accessible. It's about 104 people all up who are SDA qualified there, yeah. And of which 87 are living in existing and legacy properties in NDIS there, yeah.
I honestly believe it'll be one of those areas that there'll be a lot of pull downs and rebuilds, units and stuff like that now.
Oh, like it's all older housing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you go there recently, so is there a lot of high rises there, or is it more all old houses?
Out there it's still the old houses, but it's a case of you can see that because of Schofield's. First thing I thought of is this will be where Bankstown, the way I used to know it, won't be like that anymore. It will have the high-rise buildings and the pull-downs because, those houses are definitely on the closer end to the 100-year mark as opposed to, the newer suburbs, which are much further out.
Are they big blocks or are they average size blocks?
They're about 600, 700 square metre blocks, so they're a good sized block. Not overly big like we can buy up here in certain places, but it's a good sized block.
I went to Sydney recently, and I believe that those people who are interested in NDIS or SDA in Sydney are really those who actually have multiple houses in Sydney. with those bigger blocks and older houses, which would suit knockdown rebuilds. So if you're an investor or if you're a listener who's thinking about investing in SDA in New South Wales, then the knockdown rebuilds for those old houses, blocks will be perfect and ideal, yeah. I mean, your family, Donna, in Bankstown, have they been living there for a long time?
Oh, yeah. They built
in the
house.
same house? In the same
house? They built the house in Lakemba, which is in the Bankstown area.
So there'll be plenty of people like that.
Yeah.
Scenario where they live there all their lives, paid off the mortgage, and they're sitting there on I wouldn't say gold mine, but a house was worth $1.4 million.
Yes.
Paid off.
Yes.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
And if it's their primary place of residence, then obviously they won't knock it down, obviously. But if they had a second or a third house nearby, which was paid off, then it'd be easy to redraw equity out to knock it down and do a brand new NDIS build easily, yeah.
Yes.
Because that's the way to go forward with Sydney investors. Not getting someone to buy an actual $1.5 million house and then knocking it down and spending $700,000. That's $2.2 million.
Wow.
It's way too much. It's just crazy. But if you actually are living on a block which could be knocked down, then consider that, yeah. But anyway, speaking of which, Donna, what other areas do you like on this list in front of you here?
On the list, Penrith is, I'll go back to the football again, Penrith Panthers. So that's up in the mountain range. So, you're a fair way from Sydney, but they've got the main highways anyway, and I don't know which M number it is, but, that makes it very quick. But Penrith is your access to Western New South Wales and the Blue Mountains. So that appeals to me because there's lots of areas there. Just up the road from there is where I've just been doing some research myself personally, and that's where that vicinity where they first discovered gold. So that's where all the Fossa Kings started. So there's lots of history there and things to do. Jenolan Caves is there, and I'm big on tourists and having a look around. So that's what I would sort of look at that. But going back away from the country on the coast, you've got the suburbs, once again, like Bondi. Everybody knows Bondi is known worldwide. I was living for a while went to school at Maroubra, which is a couple of beaches down from Bondi. Beach suburbs are very popular as well.
Eryn, do you want to comment on those stats and figures in front of you there about Outer West and Blue Mountains?
Oh, it's right down the bottom.
Yeah.
They're really, significantly higher. So it's what I'm looking at is like a bar chart, and essentially,
what's the total call of the
estimated SDA supply in New South Wales, and
there's dark blue and light
dark blue. There's significantly higher dark blue in the Outer West and Blue Mountains and Parramatta than anywhere else, but there's also a really large chunk of light blue, which is SDA dwellings in development.
So Blue Mountains, Outer West, there. What's the number there? The bar chart has a representative number. 200?
It'd be 250 to 300.
So 300 dwellings in Blue Mountains, Outer West. And Donna, what's Outer West onward? What's the suburb of Outer West?
I would class that from the map.
Penrith or?
Penrith is west.
Where's Outer West?
Inner West. Outer West, I would say probably another half an hour out, because that's how big Sydney is, so just from the centre of Sydney through to an hour's drive west on one of the main roads. That's basically west. And then the other side of that, so Parramatta, it's still a long way out, and this is where the areas are sort of a little bit vague to me, but you're looking at least an hour to get out there before you even start considering Outer West.
So Eryn, is the biggest number there, is that...
That's Parramatta, that biggest one.
Well, back to Blue Mountains, Outer West.
Yeah.
What's the number there? It's about 150? 160 there?
160
is the
that they're existing, and then there's another 100 or so
70,
in development.
Yeah. So basically there are a lot of dwellings in Outer West to Blue Mountains that are existing, and they're the older houses which are being used as SDA. So they're not fit for purpose. So eventually those people will have to move on to another house. So obviously there's a lot of demand. There would be a lot of demand for new housing in that area there.
Yeah.
But then Parramatta is what number there? What are you looking at?
Parramatta is about 160, 170 and already enrolled. And then... Dark blue. Yeah, I was reading the wrong
230, 240?
240.
Yeah,
and then
240
it's
plus,
looking like another 50 or so.
So there's definitely a lot of there would be a lot of demand in Parramatta there.
And this is from 2021. So there'd probably be even more demand now.
Donna, Parramatta, tell me more about that. I don't know the eels,
Parramatta-
but what about that? That's all I know about.
Yeah. Parramatta is the one of the older ones. Sydney was first in the beginning, and then Parramatta was established because that's where the convict farmer James Roos planted and actually grew some crops, which he was the first one. So they actually had a bit of a way back in the turn of the first century that we were here. That's where it was. You can still see old buildings, originals that were built. So I think it's probably at least 50 years older than Bankstown.
But what other areas on your list there, Donna, you think
I
could
can
ideal?
see Blacktown
Yep.
and
Is that a suburb or a regional? What is that?
It's Blacktown is one of the older ones that's just probably only lucky to be a decade younger than Parramatta.
Yeah.
So it's a very old suburb, and that's why Schofields is in the area of Blacktown.
Yes.
So there is it's further enough away out of the city and away from the coast, so therefore it'd be good as well for the knockdowns, definitely. So it's on the same lines as Parramatta.
I see in this list here, Donna, Kogarah, Rockdale. Is that two suburbs?
That's
or one
Cronulla.
Oh, Cronulla.
Go the Sharks.
Okay.
Kogarah is in the Botany Bay area. So
Is that a big area? Big town?
Oh, that area is very popular because it's got the coast again.
Yes.
It's not necessarily right on top of the coast. It is where the airport is. It's around that same vicinity as that airport. So Kogarah Rockdale is one of the older suburbs of Botany Bay.
Amazingly here, we have 92 participants with SDA needs in Rockdale, Cronulla. 15 HBS. There we go. Okay. There's a strong HBS category there of participants, yeah.
Okay.
What other areas there got, Donna? What do you...
You've got further down like Wollongong, which was typically an industrial city town.
Is that a Central Coast?
I wouldn't call it the Central Coast.
I would call
down. I would call it similar to like we have Caboolture or we have Ipswich.
Yeah.
It would be one of those. So which would be very popular again for people to live outside of Sydney but have that access to go to Sydney if they wish to.
Yeah.
So Wollongong, and it's an old town too. So there'd be lots of areas open for that as well. Liverpool is the same. Similar sort of thing. Age, it's been around a while, and it's further out, so it makes it more in the price bracket suitable from a financial point of view.
You can move up north. Anything up north?
Yeah, the north side. Isn't it funny? The north side always seems to be that little bit more expensive. Hornsby is listed there and once again, it's listed because of that access. It's that distance north, half an hour north, but I think the north side is a little bit dearer than the south side. Yeah.
North side's getting a lot more popular too.
The what?
The north side's getting a lot more popular too, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. I can see Ryde. Ryde is the top of the hill. See Ryde? Top of the list.
Ryde's on
280.
the chart that I was looking at before. Ryde's really
and
high too.
It's an old suburb. It's a really old suburb. And it's inner west.
Yeah.
It's inner. Very close. I'd even class it as it's Sydney.
It's classed as Sydney on this one that I looked at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how close it is. So I suppose it all depends on what people want to do in that respect. Yeah.
That's the more city side of it. Then there's the regional side, which is which is big too.
That's exactly right. The regional side is an area that's still close to the city is the Richmond area, Richmond Valley and everything like that. So that's probably along the same lines as with Penrith. You're up in the mountains. You've got the access to the country.
Well, the three biggest areas for NDIS participants in New South Wales really is West Sydney with 17,000 plus participants who are all SIL and SDA people in there. Southwest Sydney is 20,000 plus, and then 25,000 plus is Hunter, New England. So, Eryn, tell us more about Hunter, New England, please.
Hunter Valley is, if you're driving from Brisbane, it'd take you about 8 to 10 hours.
Yep.
So it's sort of...
But how far from Sydney to Hunter Valley?
2 hours-ish.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's just, pretty much straight up the highway. It's 2 hours, hour and a half-ish.
And then what's this New England thing?
New England is actually further up. New England's quite close to the Queensland border.
Okay, yeah. So I saw Tamworth and Donna. Is that
Kempsey is 4 hours away. I've got some travel
Yeah.
times here. Taree, which is in Hunter, is 3.5 hours, and Tamworth is 5 hours. So Tamworth is classed as being in the New England.
so?
area.
Regional New South Wales is pretty high, strong demand for
Yes.
participants. We know that from other providers
Yeah.
who told us that there is a big demand there for sure.
Even so, Hunter Valley probably class Newcastle into the Hunter Valley
Yes.
section. Yeah,
Yeah.
so even that has got like a really nice beach. It's maybe half an hour, 45 minutes from the Hunter Valley to the beach,
Yeah.
the Newcastle beach.
Yeah.
There's huge shopping centres. It's not like small. Like Newcastle is a big.
It's spread out.
It's spread and there's a lot there. Like it's
Maitland an area or
Maitland is in Newcastle.
Okay, yeah.
Maitland's where my family's from.
West, yeah.
Yeah, so Newcastle is like quite a big area and it's definitely becoming more popular than it originally was.
The biggest problem in NDIS with New South Wales is it's just so expensive to buy land and houses there.
Yeah, New South Wales.
And that one it's just too hard for investors to get into the market. So the stats are 6,200 people in New South Wales do have SDA needs, right?
Yeah.
But there are only about 500.
500-600, yeah.
Actually, hang on. What's the number?
Just over 600.
600 being built at the moment in New South Wales under construction.
Yep.
410 HBS, 81 ILs, 57 robust, 56 fully accessible. So that's 600, under construction. But there's only 400 or 500 total dwellings in New South Wales.
Yeah.
And the
altogether.
average number of participants or tenants per dwelling is 1.43. So if you've got 500 at 1.43, that's only 600 places.
Yeah.
Out of 6,200, only 10% of the SDA people are actually in an SDA house. The rest are not in an SDA house.
Would ones that have been like modified?
Yeah, well, not modified, but new. But it's just there's no land. Sydney's all built out. Donna, do you agree? It's all built out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why there's so many of the high rises living.
So if investors want to get into New South Wales and Sydney, they got to look at those areas.
You've got to be
Hunter, New
regional.
England, Southwest Sydney, and Western Sydney. If you find a block of land, then great. If you find an old house, knock it down. But then it costs too much to knock it down to build a new one. That's the problem, you know.
Yeah, Sydney's like definitely in really, really high demand. Just in general, like not even just SDA, like in general, it's in such high demand. So you'd be better off to sort of branch out a little bit and look
Going
more
regional.
into the regional areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then getting that house on a land, with that bit of space.
I've never been to the Blue Mountains. What's it like? Is it like Mount Tambourine kind of thing? Or,
Oh, no, it's much more spectacular than that. It's similar, but it's got the Three Sisters that is known worldwide with the rock formations and the valleys and things like that. It's got the Jenolan Caves, big caves.
I love caves.
Yeah. So it's just and it does have that blue haze when when you look out the window. Some people are lucky to see the Blue Mountains, but it's I suppose Tambourine is more tropical. I don't know. It's just more warmth for the simple fact that it's Gold Coast hinterland. Yeah. But
well, we have some stock for sale in the next month or so. Liverpool, we have 10 units, HPS, 2 bedrooms each for sale. So 10 and 1. So 1 is a studio apartment for the OOA provider, and then there's 10 HPS 2-bedroom units in Liverpool. They'll be built by July, August, right?
Of this year?
Yeah, this year.
Wow.
So another 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
They're priced about $750,000 for a brand new 2-bedroom unit. So if we have any investors who want
In Liverpool, that's pretty good.
living in Liverpool, there we go. And then there's another site called Westmead or Mead.
Westmead, where's
Yeah.
that?
We have a developer
Isn't that inner
provider
Sydney?
who had under construction. They'll be built by December this year. Where is Westmead?
I'm just Googling it now.
Yeah. So because Sydney's landlocked, you can't get into it.
Yeah.
The only option is apartments. And if you're lucky enough to do a knockdown rebuild, but it costs too much to do that. So Westmead.
Westmead is in the Parramatta area as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Which is the largest area.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Correct.
So we'll be able to launch 10 apartments for sale in Liverpool and 10 apartments in Westmead in Parramatta in the next 2 or 3 months. Westmead will be ready in December and the Liverpool one will be ready in August. Completion.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really that's
And
really
all these areas that we've been talking about have the rail system, have public transport.
Yeah,
So
see,
very
that's one thing that's
easy.
really good about Sydney is like even though there's from the more outer suburbs to the inner suburbs, it's a bit of a distance. It's not huge, but it's a bit of a distance. But they got really good public transport. Really, really good.
We've just sold recently, last week or so, 10 apartments in Schofields, right? And they're brand new HPS units. We have 2 buyers looking at buying them all, and they're going to contract. And first one in will be the winner. But the demand for apartments is strong if it's built and ready. And if clients are not ready to do that and they want to wait a few more months, then we've got Liverpool and Westmead next coming up. So in the meantime, we're definitely focused on looking at rebuild opportunities. But it only works if people have land in Sydney already. That's the problem, because the cost is too much to buy an old house in Sydney.
Yeah.
So if you are a listener and you are an investor with land in Sydney, please let us know. Talk to us.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. Yeah. But Donna, any final words for our listeners about Sydney, New South Wales, in terms of what they could look at?
If you happen to go down there, just to have a look, if you're an investor, definitely make the most of the harbour.
Yeah.
So good. It's so nice.
Yeah.
That's
and take a walk along the coast.
Coogee Beach?
Coogee Beach, yeah. There's that walk that goes from Coogee Beach through to Bondi.
Yeah.
And that's on my list of
Is Bondi Beach part of Coogee Beach? Or?
No. There's a couple of beaches in between.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it goes Coogee and south is Maroubra, and then north is, they call it Glamour something. There's a nickname for that. And then there's Bondi.
So I think before we wrap up this little session, I reckon I can read through the top 15 here. Number 1 to number 15: Ryde, Hunters Hill, Penrith, Warringah, Walkmans Hill, Wyong, is it?
Wyong.
Maryland's Guildford, Gosford, Campbelltown, Blacktown, Hornsby, Quinella, Parramatta, Bankstown, Strathfield.
Those are the top.
Wollongong. Yeah.
What, sorry?
They're the top 15, 20 areas for SDA.
The demand.
Yeah. So if you have interest in those areas, go look for an old house, knock it down, I guess.
Then come to us.
But yeah, so I think that wraps it up, isn't it, Eryn? That's pretty much
I think
it,
that's pretty much covered it, hey?
We'll spend more time in the coming few weeks in New South Wales and Sydney, and we'll get more data information about opportunities down there as well,
Yeah, but it's definitely a huge area. All right, thanks, Donna,
Great,
for your
thank
first
you.
episode.
All right,
Thanks,
I
Minh.
enjoyed it.
All good. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure that you are subscribed and following us so that you can keep in the loop with all of our upcoming episodes. We would really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating, a written review, and to share this episode with those that can benefit. Until next time, catch you on the next episode.